Hello, and welcome to our 9th Energy Chat. I'm Valerie Dudley, a Community Energy Advisor with Cornell Cooperative Extension of Delaware County. And today we're happy to have Emily Bell with Get Your Greenback Tompkins give us a tour of the new powerhouse. Thanks for being here, Emily.
Hi, Val. Thanks so much. I hope you all can hear me. There's a lot of traffic noise. I'm standing right outside the Cornell Cooperative Extension of Tompkins County offices, outside our new tiny home called the Powerhouse, which showcases a lot of energy efficiency measures and measures that you can take to work towards a green and cozy, totally renewable home. So I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera and take you all on a tour. Feel free to interrupt with questions. And yeah, I'm really excited to share this with you.
Great.
Alrighty, here we go. Here is our entryway. It's pretty cold, so I'm excited to get inside where the heat pump is running. So we'll head right in. Oh, so warm and light and quiet now. So the first exhibit we want folks to take a look at is this energy efficiency exhibit. So this talks about the first steps you can start to take towards a green and cozy home. It's all about energy efficiency and making sure that you're using an appropriate amount of energy to heat your space and that you're conserving all of that heat inside through insulation and by sealing up air leaks. So at this station, we have a thermal camera that our visitors can use to take a look around the powerhouse itself. And so you will see here, I'm looking up at our loft area. You can see that heat pump, that red heat pump that's running and pushing out lots of nice warmth into the space. It hasn't been on for long, so we're still heating up this space, but it's really well insulated. So once we've had that on for a little bit, it'll be nice and toasty in here. We'll talk more about
How can you tell it's insulated well from the colors? What colors?
Yeah, so if you look at the colors here, I mean, it's tricky right now because it is cold outside, but we're not seeing too much leakage. Energy audit of your home, they'll likely bring a thermal camera at your insulation. Signs that insulation has slumped. You can see this dark area is all cold that's infiltrating
I see.
the home on that image. So this works best on a really cold day when you've got your heat running, and so you can see the temperature differential between the outside air and your nice cozy home. So we do have an exhibit that's devoted to looking at different types of insulation. You may have any one of these in your home. So the powerhouse itself has spray foam and XPS foam board. So the foam board is on the floors, there's spray foam in the walls and ceilings. And those were installed by professionals, and so they were done in such a way that it was safe for humans and the environment. And those have pretty high resistance values. So they're keeping our heat in and the cold out. Another consideration when we think about air leaks is windows and doors. So those are spots where a lot of cold air can leak in and heat can leak out. So we do invite guests to the powerhouse to take a look at our windows and compare them. We have one old window that's single paned and was bought from the local reuse center. And this has a storm window attached. And then we have some fancy newfangled double paned windows with argon glass in between. But one of the things that folks can see when they come here is there's not that much of a difference between the insulating capacity of these two windows. And so sometimes instead of replacing old windows, it makes sense to add storms or blinds, insulating blinds, or to cover with a layer of plastic sheeting in the winter. And then another concern area can be all these seams around your windows, and so sealing those with caulk or caulk rope can be a nice step to prevent some air leakage and make sure you're not losing energy out of holes in your building.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so those are our two biggies. And then other places that we think about home energy use are with appliances and electronics. So this exhibit here will monitor how much energy is being consumed in the powerhouse at any given time. And it also, we have some small appliances and electronics that folks can plug in and use a watt meter and see how much energy they're actually using. So this is for a space heater. I'm gonna turn it on, and when that blue goes away, you'll see space heaters are a really big electricity suck, and not a lot of our electricity is from non-renewable sources. And so it's important to think about, if you're uncomfortable in your home and it's forcing you to use space heaters, that's a good sign that you need to get some of that energy efficiency, insulation, and air sealing work done, so that you don't have to rely on this really inefficient appliance. It's expensive to run these, among other things. So we have this spot, we have a hair dryer folks can plug in. They can also explore this concept of phantom power, or vampire power, or phantom load, where you have certain appliances and electronics that are always sucking electricity, even when they're on standby or powered off. And so we have a power strip here. This is a really easy thing you can do to make sure that your appliances and electronics are truly off when you're not using them, is to install a power strip and just be conscious to switch that off when you're done watching TV or working at your desktop computer. We have a hair dryer too. These guys read pretty high on the watt meter, but you don't use them for that long. So that's another consideration when you're thinking about which electronics and appliances you want to replace. You want to prioritize the things that use a lot of energy over time or are on a lot of the time. So things like refrigerators, window ACs. We are all about alternative heating and cooling solutions, which we'll talk more about in just a second. But I want to show you one final thing in our lovely closet. This would be maybe the bathroom if this were an operational tiny home, but for now it houses our lighting exhibit. And so we here to help remind folks about the relative efficiency of different bulbs. And then this is one of my favorite exhibits. There is a hand crank. And so if I try to turn on the CFL, I'm cranking, it makes a terrible sound. And then there we go.
Wow.
So you can compare, we have 3 different bulb types. I will give you a clue and then you should come try it out for yourself. But one of these bulbs is the most efficient and one is much less efficient and harder to turn on than the others. And that is the incandescent bulb. So if you do have incandescent bulbs in your home, it will be cost effective and save a lot of energy over time to switch to LEDs. Yes.
That is so interesting. I love that.
Yeah. And the other fun feature of this little closet is that we have 2 bulbs here, and one of these is an LED and one is an incandescent. And this just helps to show, it's probably hard to see through the screen, but I will tell you the quality of light and the brightness and the color is not too different between these. So LEDs have come a long way. And so you really can still get the lighting and environment and ambience that you want with an LED.
That's a big difference between $480 a month for an incandescent or $480 and then 80 cents.
80 cents. Yeah, and the LEDs tend to last a little bit longer. They are a little bit more expensive off the shelf, but when you think in terms of the lifetime of the bulb, you can have some real savings.
How long do they last, do you know?
I don't know exactly. I've heard that LEDs can be 4 to 8 years longer than incandescents. But again, that's going to matter how much you're turning them on and off and all of your habits, right? So we also do want to do that basic thing where we turn the light off when we leave the room. Especially here, I don't want to overload our solar. So those are some steps you can take towards energy efficiency in your home. And once you've done that, particularly once you have all of this insulation and air sealing work done, it's time to start thinking about how you actually heat your home. What are the sources that you're using? So in New York State, a lot of us have natural gas furnaces and things like that, or you might use propane. Some people use wood, which is a renewable heat source here in upstate New York, because we're able to grow and harvest that biomass faster than we burn it. But we have in here, we're showcasing a different renewable heating technology. This is an air source heat pump. And these are just starting you're starting to see them more in this region. It's a cold climate heat pump, so it can work down to -13 degrees Fahrenheit or below. And all of it works, it's using the same principles as your refrigerator. So essentially, we're passing refrigerant through these two units, and I'll show you the outside unit in a moment. But refrigerant is going back and forth, and we have different compressors, and the pressure changes help to harvest any heat from the outside air and bring it inside and magnify it. And so I'll just show this. This is a really nice diagram. If you visit tinypowerhouse.org, you can find more information about air source and ground source heat pumps and how effective they are in our cold climate. But I'll tell you, I was really cold when I was standing outside, and now I am pretty comfy. So yeah, so there are lots of considerations with heat pumps, but it's definitely a cool technology that's worth checking out, especially if you are wanting to find a more renewable heating source for your home.
And heat pumps run on electricity, is that correct?
Yes, they do run on electricity. And so if you do go with a heat pump, you then need to think about your electricity sources. And here in the Powerhouse, we do run on solar. So I'm going to take you outside. I'll show you the outside unit of our heat pump, as well as our panels on the roof.
Wow.
Yeah. So
is it exclusively solar then?
Yeah, so we are off the grid, so we are running everything on solar. Sorry, there's some tree work happening.
No.
So here is our lovely mural on the front of the Powerhouse. So we want it to feel inviting and get folks to come on in and check it out. This is our outside unit of the air source heat pump. So this is where the heat exchange with the outside air is happening. And these things are cool because they are reversible. So in the summer, you can get cooling, which to me sounds amazing. I have never in my life had air conditioning.
Yeah.
And we know that window ACs are hugely expensive to run and are big energy sucks. So the possibility to have a renewable heating and cooling source all wrapped into one is quite exciting.
That's a huge plus, because it gets hot in the summer sometimes. I mean,
yes,
it does.
And cold. Yep. Yeah, but then as you mentioned, and we do then need to think about where our electricity is coming from. And so one of the easiest things to do in New York State is to start to think about how you can go solar. For us at the Powerhouse, that looks like this rooftop panel array with an inverter and batteries. So like I said, we are off the grid. We are not hooked into any other electricity source because this is a mobile tiny home unit. So we want to be able to travel around. So our panels are connected to these 3 Honkin batteries.
Wow, they look like car batteries.
Yeah. And these are probably the biggest expense we had for the Powerhouse, which is good news for anyone who is connected to the grid, because you don't have to worry about purchasing batteries for solar. Our array and our inverter were donated by ETM Solar Works, so we're really thankful to them for keeping us warm and keeping the lights on.
Everything is, yeah, it's pretty like streamlined in terms of size. Like
Yeah.
it's not as, yeah, that looks
Right, and
really
it
nice.
has to be for this space for sure. So lots of intentional design. If you're really into powerhouse or tiny homes, we do have the designs for the powerhouse also available on our website,
Oh, excellent.
tinypowerhouse.org. So, yeah, I love how everything is so intentional and has its spot.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, we collect that energy from the sun via the panels. It gets stored in these batteries, and then when I want to run anything in the home, I switch on this inverter, and then I can turn on the lights and the heat pump and all of that good stuff.
Oh, wow.
Because we're not connected to the grid, we do need to be a little bit careful about how much energy we're using. So I monitor that here just to make sure that we're not running the batteries too low. But again, if you're considering an on-site solar option for your own home, you may be able to connect into the grid so that you have backup.
Yes, yeah, like a hybrid, like in case you need it, you could plug in.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Or you'll basically get credits for the solar that you produce on the grid, but you'll always have access to electricity. And if you do want an off-grid system, people do that, and it works. And then that's kind of cool because you know that all the power you're using was directly produced from your panels. But even if you can't do this on-site solar or a rooftop array like we've been talking about, there are a lot of other options to power your home and your heat pump and anything else you're doing electronically with solar energy. And so this is a community solar purchase option. There are solar farms on which you can actually purchase your panels. It won't be as large of savings probably as having on-site solar, but it's a smaller investment because there will be maintenance costs and things that the solar farms charge. But if you don't have, like if your property's really shaded, this is a really good option. Or if you know you're going to move soon, you know, you can keep your panels on the farm as long as you're staying pretty regional.
Mm-hmm.
And then down here is our community subscription solar option. This is something that renters, homeowners, whoever, anyone who pays their own utility bill essentially can do at any time. So you subscribe. There's not usually an upfront cost or cancellation fee, and you see somewhere between 5 to 10% savings on your electricity bill. Yeah, there is a program for low-income residents who would like a free community solar subscription, and so that just puts extra credits back on their bill when they opt into Solar for All. Wonderful. So those are 3 easy ways to think about going solar. It is important to keep in mind, if you're going to build on-site solar, you really want to know everything you're going to be running off of that so that you can size your array properly. Mm-hmm. So you want to do your energy efficiency work, figure out your heating system, especially if that's going to be based on electricity. And if you're going to have an electric vehicle or anything, you need to consider all of that so that you can get enough power out of those panels. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so here, this is the powerhouse, and then on the way out the door, we do have this one final consideration. So we have a really, really nice tight home, and some people worry about, well, then I don't get any fresh air in, right? We're used to having all those air leaks. So if you make your home snug enough that you need some type of mechanical ventilation, you can get something called an energy recovery ventilator. This will bring in fresh air without losing heat. So it's designed so that we still have, so
how does it do that, I wonder?
Yeah, if you check out, there's a video again on tinypowerhouse.org. Under exhibits, if you go to indoor air quality, there's a video that I found really helpful that sort of shows this Y-shaped apparatus that's inside of that ventilator.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
Yeah,
Wow.
And yeah. And then of course, we're not actually combusting any fossil fuels in the home. So we've got better air quality to begin with. Because we are running things, we don't have a furnace or anything in here. And so that is another consideration, especially as lung health is top of everyone's minds at the moment.
Indeed. What, can you show us upstairs? Is it just empty?
Yeah, I'll give you, there's not a lot going on up here right now. But eventually this will be a little library and kids play space.
Wow.
And so this is probably, this is where you'd have your bed. If you're living in this home, probably.
It's really pretty.
So, yeah, I'm excited about.
I am a tiny house lover, and I think this is really spectacular and looks good, and the exhibits are really attractive and informational. This is really nice. I love the old window showing that, because that is one of the big questions is, how much should you invest in replacement windows, and knowing that might not really be the best bang.
Yeah, that might not be the main concern. And the best way to find out for your unique situation is by getting an energy audit. And so I know that you're available to help folks in Delaware County with that. I work out of Tompkins County and can help walk you through the process of getting an energy audit and making energy efficiency upgrades in your own home. And if you want to explore heat and solar, that's what we're here for. And
and there's a lot of programs, as you know, for energy upgrades that can either be free or 50%. And you and I both know about these programs. It's weatherization and power and assisted home performance. So there's other rebates and incentives for solar and renewable heat and heat pumps. As you know, there's a new heat pump incentive coming up that's going to be pretty brief, but very large.
So if you're interested in a heat pump, now is the time to get in contact with a community energy advisor or a local Heat Smart program and see what you might qualify for.
Well, thank you so much, Emily, for letting us know about this amazing project. And if people are interested in finding out more about the tiny house, they can go to tinypowerhouse.org. Is that right?
Yep, tinypowerhouse.org.
All right.
And that has a rundown of all of our exhibits and a little bit more information. And then if folks want to come in person, this really is meant to be an interactive tool. And it's hard with COVID times, but we have some nice safety measures in place. And so we will be accepting groups to come visit. Starting at the end of this month, we'll be parked at the Science Center in downtown Ithaca. And we do invite folks to stop by and check it out.
That's exciting. I can't wait to see it in person. People can also find out more about energy upgrades at Smart Energy Choices website, which is smartenergychoices.org. People can call me at 607-865-6531. Emily's contact info and my contact info is in the comment section, so you can find that there. I just wanted to let people know that this Energy Chat is brought to you by a grant with NYSERDA. That's about it. And thank you so much, everybody, and have a great day. Bye, Emily.
Bye. Thank you for having me.